Hey, all right. So I have gotten I got some dots to connect, and I want to connect those dots with y'all, and I want y'all to help me work through some of these moments. And yeah, we got some dots to connect, and I want to see if y'all can connect them with me. Hey, Blessing, how are you? Hey, Gigi. Hey, Naira. Trishan, Jay. Just the lonely talking. All right, lonely. That's a depressing name. Just the lonely talking. That sounds like a good name of a book. I was just catching up on the live from last night. Yes, 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 yes. I'm trying to pull up some of these videos. So we're gonna watch and listen, not necessarily watch. Um, we're gonna listen to a couple of videos, and I'm going to try to lead to a connection that we can all discuss. Got it? I hate that I missed most of the last night. I was in, but actually work, so I couldn't listen. It's still up. You can still listen. I know it's more fun when you can participate, but it's still up. And you can comment. People are still commenting on that video because it was a long story. Yeah. Only part you can't see now is the end. Like I did the whole story part. That's the first 3 hours, but we went for almost 5 hours last night. And the end part that was just kind of us kind of like winging it. I always cut that off. So that's the part that's kind of missed. I hate to say that we all got a Ronnie somewhere. Unfortunately true. Unfortunately true. All right. I want to start off with one video. Hmm. Somebody just sent me some peen pictures. And it's quite a pretty peen, but attached to a gremlin. No, thank you. You got a nice peen though. Your peen is nice, but everything else is not. No, thank you. Anyway, um, okay, I'm gonna try to hey L, hey Ty. All right. So we're gonna start off by talking about, and make sure if you are a returning person, make sure you thumbs up so you don't forget. If you are new here, subscribe. And when we're watching a live, we thumbs up. When you hear something that you like, if you hear something that you like, or you can just do it because that's a good way to support that doesn't cost you any money. How about that? And a black trans woman needs your, I love to play the black trans card. A black trans woman needs your support. I remember I was in New York and it was at Pride, World Pride, and me and my homegirl, Nala Simone, she was telling, she had these little tickets to go to this little party on the pier. The classic pier, like off of Christopher Street and blah, 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 blah. And so there was this pride party there, and they had blocked it off, and it was an exclusive area, and you needed tickets to get in, and blah, 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 blah. And, and, uh, and, And I knew I was coming to New York, but I didn't know I was coming there for a particular thing, and I didn't know all the events that was going on, so I didn't have tickets. And Nala was like, "Oh, girl, come on, go. We can come in. We'll figure it out. Come on." So we go and we sit in the line, and they got these iPads with the people's whose name is on the list. So we get up to the lady with the little iPad, and of course Nala's name is on the list. Mine is not. And so she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be. You're not on the list. So I'm not gonna be able to." Da, 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 da." And I said, "So on World Pride, y'all are not gonna let a Black trans woman into a Pride event? Black trans women founded this shit on World Pride. Y'all are really not gonna let a Black trans woman into an event on Christopher Street." Does that even sound right? That white lady said, "I'm sure we can make something happen." I don't like to play that card, but how dare you? I don't like to play that card, girl. But I'm in New York, home of Stonewall. Home of Stonewall. Next to the waters that they found Marsha P. Johnson's body in, and y'all are not gonna let a Black trans woman into this event? How dare you? That's what I was giving. Gag them, baby. That white lady didn't know what to do. They sure let me in, gave me my little wristband, and got my life, honey. How dare you? How dare you have the unmitigated gall? I usually don't play that card, but in that moment, I felt like it was appropriate. All right, I have to find this video. So, I want to start. We connecting dots, right? So, I want to start by setting the foundation of the conversation. And the foundation of the conversation is Docheii. All right. So Docheii recently was on like a little content game show or whatever with her friend. And I guess I haven't watched the whole video. I'm not gonna pull that up. But should I pull that up just for context? Have y'all seen what Docheii is getting kind of like some backlash for recently? Do I have to explain that? Or nah? Do I need to pull it up? I don't want to have to. I haven't. All right. Well, I'll pull it up. Damn. I need y'all to be up to the now. She do got the men's mad. The DL line one song. No. It's she was on, it was some kind of content creation. I'm about to find it. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready?
Red flag.
So dating red flag.
What's my biggest dating red flag? Is it being on the DL? You're on the right track. I have my answer. Is it close enough? You want to guess one more time? What would be a red flag for me? Bad music taste. Ooh, that is a good one. Because that's one for me. That is a good one. But that's not what I mean. You don't listen to Michael Jackson. Well, okay. This is a huge red flag for me. All right. you know what's so crazy? I was gonna say men. I was gonna say men. No, like I mean, strike one. You're a man. Yeah. And you're heterosexual. Yeah. I was gonna say so technically because my mom was already there. I don't think I deserve to eat a wing. I think you do, friend. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, always go with your gut instinct. I think you need more sauce. Okay.
All right. So she wrote on her thing, her answer was straight men. And then she went on to say, you first of all, you're a man and you're heterosexual, red flag. So to me, clearly she's sometimes when people are joking, she's not joking, but also joking. Like it's one of those moments where, of course, we know that all straight men are not bad. Maybe. Maybe. But we know that. And like I'm doing now, there's a joke in that, but there's some truth in that. Nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolute. But in that moment, maybe 2%. But in that moment, there's a joke and there's some truth. You get what I'm saying? Nothing is absolute. We know that there's some unicorn out here that's an amazing man. Some, one. So we know that exists. So she has the straight men in a bunch. They are, making video responses, and oh my God, and we are so oppressed. It's the worst thing to be out here as a straight black man. We all gotta be gay, but I'm not gonna be gay. I like pussy. You're never gonna make me not like pussy. And they're out here being super, super obtuse and being just getting their little patriarchal panties in a bunch. That's just what it is. So this is, I just want to lay the foundation that we're not going to discuss that in regards to, um, if you're too stupid to understand that a queer woman is saying, sweetie, the first red flag, honey, is that if you straight and you don't understand how straight men are, are in general problematic, and it's not about you being straight. It's not, nobody cares really for real about you being straight. The real, it's just straight culture, straight men culture, just how y'all are conditioned and raised and da da da. Y'all just by default have to do a lot of work to move in this world and be a good person, because the world teaches you to be a bad person to people who are not you. That's just the truth. And if you are a black man, because I don't really be listening to the people from the Caucasus Mountains. If you are a black man, you especially should understand. Thank you, love and light. Mwah. If you are a black man, you should especially understand, because white heterosexual men, you have the same problem with them that we have with y'all in general. Okay? You want them to, the world defaults them to be racist. You know that. Like you grasp that concept. I know you grasp that concept because it affects you. And I know it's really hard for you to see things outside of what affects you. It's hard because you're so focused on whose foot is on your neck that you can't see whose neck your foot is on. I know it's really, really hard, and I'm talking to black men right now, and so I know it's hard. And while we're defaulting to heterosexual black men, there's some overlap in the homosexual black men too. Y'all can be misogynist and weird and transphobic and too, but we gonna default over here because we know. So, but everybody ain't exempt. There's no absolute. And so I know it's easy for you to see it in white men. Like I just posted this earlier on my whatchamacallit, and I said, Docheii said what she said, and this is an indication of why y'all are oppressing us all. And I posted, these are the words that are now discouraged at the federal agencies. And some of those words are activism. They put it in alphabetical order. Affirming care, anti-racism, assigned at birth. So if you put this wording, like, you will get rejected in your grant. Female, biases, biological male. Clock that. BIPOC, Black Latinx, clean energy, climate crisis, DEI, disability, discriminatory, diverse group, diversity, equitableness, feminism, gender ideology, Gulf of Mexico, hate speech, inclusive, inequality. These are words that most of us are going to use if we're writing grants around fixing these issues. LGBT, intersectionality, marginalized, most at risk, multicultural, mix, MX, that's the non-binary. Instead of saying Mr. or Miss, the non-binary one is MX. So if they have that, or non-binary as a word, people plus uteruses. People plus uteruses. Pregnant people. Like that, saying pregnant people can get your grant rejected on a federal level. Prejudice, pronouns. We all use pronouns, and we'll talk about that later. Racial inequity, sexuality, social justice, socioeconomic, stereotypes, systematic, they, them, transgender, traumatic, unconscious bias, underprivileged, victims. So all of these words, the white men leadership have said, no thanks. And so this affects us all, including you Black men, but it's easy for you to see this because it can affect you, unless you're like a coon or something that's aligning with the foolishness. But this is what we mean, is that in general, y'all have to do a lot of work to dismantle the conditioning, the default conditioning for you to be a better man in the world and moving around in society. And if you want to be a good person to your partner, your children, your employees, your community in general, there is a default conditioning for you to be trash. And so if you don't work through that, then you're going to be navigating in the world shady. And so for somebody who is queer, we can jokingly and unjokingly say being a straight heterosexual man is a red flag. And red flag just means a warning. That don't mean that you're not a good person. It's just a red flag. It's like, ooh, be careful here. Ooh, red flag, be careful. Maybe he might be a good one that has worked through the bullshit, but he might not be. So I wanted to lay that foundation for us to talk about. Got it? So are we on the same page with that? Are we on the same page? Any questions? Anybody unclear? Anybody unclear by what Docheii meant, or what's the problem in that sense? You're gonna see a lot of people. Oh, I want to read this too. I forgot to say this. Even critical reading alarms some people. Girl, English class in 2025 must be crazy. Period. All right, so I have a homeboy. Me and him go back and forth because he's a cishet. Let me put quotation marks up because we've been friends for a long time, and I invited him over my house. and he tried to have me. I could have had him. I just in the moment, and I wanted to have him because he got a big old dick. But what ruined his chances to have me was Beyonce. I am a Beyonce stan, and if you get to talking crazy about Beyonce, my pussy dries up. Sorry. It dries up and it starts to lock in and it starts to say, nah. There's just certain conversations that if you have, I'm not going to be turned on. So he comes over my house. He was already green flag. He was already green flagging because he came over my house and I got a whole bunch of butch queens over here. And he comes in and it ain't no hookup stuff. And he was talking about coming over, hanging out and being friends and blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, well, come over with all my Judies, honey, since you just want to be friends. And so he comes over and it's a house full of butch queens. Not full. It's like two butch queens. And, so we hanging out. And so we get on the conversation. So, if you're in a room full of people and y'all having, it get to political conversations because he's not dumb. He's not dumb in the sense of you can't have any conversation with him. And so we get on Beyonce. And so he gets to having the Beyonce's overrated conversation. Now, this is probably like, this is probably in the 4 era. This is in the who run the world, girls, who run the 4 era. And so this is years ago. And so he gets to talk about Beyonce overrated. And so we get to arguing about that, and not arguing as in like hollering, yelling, just really cool arguing. And so we are, all 3 of us is Beyonce fans. He is not. And so he's sitting in the chair and I'm at the computer and they're on these couches and we're just talking blah, 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 blah. And it's all good. And it's just a good, healthy, fun debate. But him talking about Beyonce turned me off so much that the idea of having him was no longer on the table. No, thank you, baby. I'm not interested. You are dumb to me. It just turned me all the way off because usually if you go down the rabbit hole of somebody's opinion about anything, it kind of is rooted in some type of politics, and his was rooted in his misogyny. And as I have been friends with him, it's just all his opinions are usually rooted in some kind of misogyny or weirdness. And so at the end of the night, when my butch queens left, he tried to turn on the sexy. And I was like, no. Remember, you just wanted to be friends. Damn, it's like that? Yes. And you not sickening enough for me to just want you on my roster. You cool, but you ain't sickening. Your dick is sickening. But your physical ain't all that. It's like, child, you're not somebody I just need to have on my roster. So no, thank you. And you just turn me off. Get out of here. So that's how it goes down. So I could have had him, but I did not. And so when I say cis het, it's quotation marks. I ain't had him. He done claim he ain't never messed around before. Blah blah blah. So he posts in regards to Docheii. If a male, especially a black male, said the same thing about the alphabet community, first of all, the fact that you're calling us the alphabet community, which is a direct quote from Dave Chappelle as a joke against us, lets me know where you stand. So that's first of all. So you're already showing your red flag. Already proven our point that you are a walking red flag. Just the fact that your language is demeaning and disrespectful. And we've told y'all that this is demeaning and disrespectful. So even though you're trying to position yourself to talk against the point that she was trying to make as heterosexual being red flag, you are literally being a red flag in this post. Anyway, If I said if a male said the same thing about the alphabet community, especially a black male, joke or not, the cancel community would be activated. First of all, my response in the comments was, straight men say homophobic and misogynistic shit all the time, and not one get canceled, y'all. Y'all shoot women, y'all rape women, and y'all still get support. Look at Tory Lanez, look at Bill Cosby, look at R. Kelly. It's still people going to bat for R. Kelly in his whole videos on P. Diddy, and people are still going to bat for him. Get out of here. Lil Bootsy, they still out here doing the thing. Y'all abuse and rape women for years and still get support for years. It's a whole list of black straight men I can name who say wild shit and they are never canceled. Y'all still support them. So this y'all getting canceled shit is a myth. Very few people get canceled. Chris Brown. So get out of here. And we not just talking about one incident with Rihanna. We talk about multiple incidents with other women as well. Recent. So I had to read him because y'all love to play the victim like y'all oppressed for being straight men when y'all just fucking are problematic. Same thing. That's why we call y'all that classic article by very smart brothers that said it was a black man saying we are the white people of the black community in regards to black men. They love Mike Tyson to death, literally convicted of rape, literally. And Desiree, I'm glad you brought Mike Tyson up because that rebrand of Mike Tyson annoys the fuck out of me. It annoys me. Oh, the rebrand of Mike Tyson. Oh Lord. Two people, and he ain't that bad, but two people that annoy me with their rebrand is fucking Snoop Dogg and fucking Mike Tyson. It's a couple of them, but Snoop Dogg and Mike Tyson. Snoop Dogg, you used to walk with you. You trying to put yourself as this family man now that you old and wrinkly and withering away. But you was fucking walking down the carpet with bitches on leashes. Like you are not a good person. You was promoting pimp culture and all while disgusting. But anyway, but the Mike Tyson rebrand, ooh, pisses me off. And Desiree wasn't a victim that was suing for money. I want that to be clear. Desiree Washington, who he raped, wasn't a victim who was like, oh, I'm trying to civilly sue you for money. So you know how they always like, oh, this is just a money grab. Oh, this is just no. Desiree wanted him to go to jail. She didn't get no money and she didn't get no fame. She ain't even been in the limelight. She said, no, he raped me. And I want him to go to jail. This ain't about no money. This is about a criminal getting off the streets and justice for him raping me. I love 50 Cent. 50 Cent is my guilty pleasure. So Desiree has been out the limelight. She ain't speaking of people in the limelight. Y'all know I have ADHD, so I go all over the place. Yeah, have y'all seen that Casey Anthony has rebranded herself as like a child advocate, and she's on TikTok being a like a child advocate? Casey mother freaking Anthony. What is going on with the world? Casey Anthony. Ain't that crazy? If y'all go sit your ass down. Anyway, Desiree Washington. She wasn't trying to be a celebrity. She wasn't trying to be nothing. She wanted to get you locked up for raping her. She wasn't trying to get no money. She didn't sue for money. She wanted you to be locked up, which he did. He got convicted and went to jail. So this new, them positioning Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson has always been a dunce. Mike Tyson has always been stupid. He was always been a good boxer and stupid. Like that's, so he ain't never been some wise nigga. But they putting, because he's old now, they putting him on this pedestal like a sage. Like they was even, I remember they had him on a podcast, or he had a podcast or some shit. Child. Anyway, the rebrand and all of that foolishness. Yes. So the default, I want that to be very clear. The default of these niggas is Floyd Mayweather, also trash, yes, and also dumb. The rebrand works because I didn't even know Mike Tyson is a rapist. Really? But how old are you though? Now, new age people, if you, how old are you? Because you might not know, because that happened in the 90s. So you might not know that happened. Nancy Grace being on Casey ass since she came back. Right. I live for Nancy coming out of retirement. You a millennial? You should, how you didn't know Mike was a rapist? That's like, that happened during the Bill Clinton scandal too. And it was in Indianapolis, my hometown. My hometown be getting the kids together. It got well, I guess if you a millennial, you was young. But I was young too, bitch. You don't know he was no rapist. Let's not forget how Mike did Robin Gibbons. That part, he was already he was beating Robin Gibbons' ass. He was the Chris Brown of our generation, of when we was young. My mama generation, I guess. You know anyone from Fort Wayne? I lived there. I'm pretty sure I know somebody, but nobody that I can name. I was born in '92. Yeah, so you wasn't old enough, but she said she's a millennial, so she should have known. But anyway, yes, that rebrand is working because it make people forget. So I wanted to give that context. We're connecting dots, okay? We're connecting the dots. If you are watching, it is 47 people in here. Thumbs up. Only 26 people have thumbs up. So that's like half, a little over half. So yes, if you are watching, thumbs up. If you enjoy the conversation, thumbs up. Don't just, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the thumbs up button for the engagement. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So we are connecting dots. We have went to to Docheii, and the straight men being up in shambles and all that kind of stuff, and saying that straight men are just tuning in. Hey B, QB. I was born in '92, and it was a known thing. Marissa probably was in church. um, yeah, so we're connecting how straight men are a red flag. All right. And remember, there's a don't be obtuse. There is a joke in it, and then there is a seriousness to that statement. Okay, so there's a joke and there's a seriousness, and you can't equate. Oh, let me go back to that statement. I'm sorry. So remember, I said, remember I said that I read his I was reading his response. His response is, if basically he's saying if black men had said that, joking or not, it would be in a cancel culture. And I said, y'all motherfuckers don't get canceled. So he responded and he says, I would love to have a fair and open, informative conversation about this. I don't think saying that straight men have murdered and raped is a fair comparison. LGBT people rape and kill as well. So that statement right there already is a problem because you cannot compare the number of, do LGBT people kill people or rape people? Yes, I'm sure. Yes, absolutely. But the number of straight men compared to LGBT people doing that is drastically different. It's just drastic. It's not saying that LGBT people don't do anything. I'm not saying that they don't do anything, but the number, it's like saying who is the school shooters? Is there one black school shooter or sniper or something? Absolutely. But overall, in general, it be white male. So comparing black school shooters and white school shooters is not the same thing. It's a false equivalent. So equalizing them is already your problem. It's unfair to distinguish the human experience per gender, race, ethnicity as if one is less human than the other. You trying to equate the harm of cishet men to any marginalized community is a false equivalency. Period. It's like when we're talking about abuse and you say women abuse too. Yes, they do, but not to the level of y'all. Look at the intimate partner homicide of trans women. Look at the intimate partner homicide of cis women and compare it to who kill men, cis women or trans women killing their partners. Compare the number. How many cishet straight men has killed their wives compared to how many cishet straight women have killed their husbands? Not saying that they don't kill their husbands, but there is a drastic difference in the number of how many men kill their wives compared to how many wives kill their husband. It is a drastic different number. And men be killing other men too. Yes. So you making those comparisons and you equalizing those things, talking about, my point of the post was to, can she can be held accountable for saying that dumb stuff. And my response was, she doesn't need to be held accountable. She said what she said. We agree with what she said. She's a queer woman, and other queer people will agree, and we won't cancel her or stop supporting her. Yes, y'all don't support it anyway. Y'all literally don't support LGBT people. Y'all literally, if a nigga is wearing too much feminine clothes, y'all will stop supporting. If there was a girl, she was on, you know how pick-me's be talking about, oh, I'm good, all the kind of shit that pick-me's be talking about. I cook for my man. Y'all got me fucked up thinking I'm not gonna be out here as no independent woman. I need a man. And da da da. This girl had this video where she just was giving all of this pick me energy. And I cook, I rub my man feet, and da 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 da. I need a man, I need a man, I need a man. She's pick me in and doing all the things that they like. As soon as I went in the comments, you know what the man said? I understand what you're saying, but you kind of masculine. Because she was a hood girl and she was giving all that kind of hood girl energy. And baby, the Trey said, you kind of talk like a man. You kind of masculine. And I went in the comments and I said, see, baby girl, you did all that pick me and he still called you a man. You still was a nigga to him. You did all of that ass kissing and brown nosing, and all he could think about is how masculine you are, how hood you act. It didn't save you from the patriarchy, girl. It didn't save you. He looked past all that feet rubbing and cooking and cleaning and happy homemaker shit that you was selling and said, that's the nigga right there. Baby, I had gagged and said, it's not worth it, sis. It's not worth it. And then he come back. Then again, I can totally agree that it's some black straight men that say wild shit and still receive support. Bootsy, Charleston White, etc. Exactly. You know what we talking about. And so I wanted, I'm reading this and explaining this conversation because I'll go through these moments where I'm connecting dots that some people may not connect. And so he calls out these people that he knows say problematic shit, just like Docheii just said. Except they're not joking. It's not meant to be funny. That they really are not joking. They're just homophobes. So Bootsy, Charleston White, what's that dude named? Lord Lamar or Lord Jamar. He always talking about some anti-gay shit. Let me get me some water. He always on some weird about what gay people doing.
Voice privacy contents have been updated. To continue,
shut up. I'm calling this out because y'all know that y'all are problematic. Y'all know it. Y'all know y'all are not safe. Y'all, Umar is getting roasted as this streams about his children. Don't he got a son? Lord Jamar obsessed with talking about the gays. Baby, I don't see him even ever interviewed unless it's about some gay shit. I don't even know what that man does. I think he used to be a rapper, and I know him, he was on Oz naked with his penis out. With his little penis out. So it wasn't even hitting on nothing. So did y'all see that? I don't know if y'all saw that, but he was on the show Oz and he was naked. Like, you know, they used to be on HBO getting butt naked with the trade. And so he was one of them. And that dick was little and late. Tragic peen, tragic politics. Tragic peen equal tragic politics, usually. Of course he was on Oz. Mm-hmm. So I'm making these connections. These niggas know. Yes, very disappointing dick. Yes. These niggas know that they are trash. So I wanted to go here. Damn. All right. So I want y'all to listen to this. Christopher Maloney ate him up. I don't know who Christopher Maloney is. Link us if you can. If it matters that much. Not little and late, child. Someone said black men can't cancel Docheii because black men don't buy tickets to nothing. Period. You don't even support us anyway. You don't even support us anyway. You don't support queer people anyway. You don't even support the fucking yo artists. Most of the artists that get popular, dudes, it's the women that fucking support them. Oh, okay. Come on, Stabler with the big peen. All right, so we are making Tragic Peen sound like a sickening song title. Tragic Peen, yes. That does. So Consciously had a video and he was calling out these dudes. And so these niggas know that they toxic. And some of them are proudly toxic. They proudly. And we know this. We see them with the podcast mics, the passport bros. We see these niggas. So I'm trying to get y'all to make these connections because I'm gonna, my goal is to show you how to work on ourselves, our inside. We can easily see it in other people. We can easily, you see how we talking about the cis straight men, and we can easily see it in them. We gonna connect the dots and keep going and going and going and going till we get to one of ours today. Got it? We connecting the dots. All right. So we have gone to Docheii, to the straight men. Let's go here.
A good job. I make very, very good money. And she says the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You're right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself. Shit. And what it is these, and this is the thing. I'm not blaming women. Women are gonna hate him for that shit. They are gonna hate him for that. I can't wait to put this shit out. Number one, what does it mean for us to have all these conversations about what do you bring to the table? The woman say she bring everything and you say, I don't want you no more. What does it mean? Number two, women exceeding expectations and being all they can be is not a negation of your manhood or masculinity. If you feel that way, it show that your shit is fragile. Number three, as a college professor, you know that studies show that female college students will literally dim their light in order to appeal to their male counterparts because they recognize that men's fragile masculinity will make you wear, man, I don't get to feel like a man if you know more than me, head ass. Number four, y'all make all dudes with podcasts look like some misogynistic ass suckers, bro. And speaking of suckers, that takes me to number five, man. What y'all just seen was an illustration of sucker solidarity, where you have grown-ass men trying to appeal to other suckers by demeaning women. Sucker solidarity. Number six, y'all want to go back to the past so bad, because how dare a woman be high achieving? You want to go back to the times when women had to have a man to have a bank account and have a house and be able to pay bills, huh? Just say that. Number seven, I'm convinced that Jeff Bezos and the CIA is dropping down all these podcast mics to the plantation patriarchs to be able to bite back on some of that unity that we was able to get in 2020. Number eight, I'm having a hard time believing that a woman told him, I've achieved all these things, I make this money, I just need a man. I'm having a hard time
They ain't saying that shit.
Like trying to make a point. What university or school did everybody go to over the pandemic that made them relationship gurus now? What's the university called? Kevin Samuels University? Conclusion. If the one dude say he not blaming women for being high achievement, then who is he blaming? And the other dude, why are you so happy to gaslight women and putting this one up? You're going to make them mad. Why?
All right. So I wanted to put that up. So you get a whole gaggle of clowns. The mini car is rolling around with these clowns in there. Consciously has been on the show. Make sure y'all check out our interview. So you got these niggas sitting around. Talking about, and this goes back to the joke I was just talking about, that I was just making about the girl being a pick-me. Myron Gaines is definitely driving. Every time I see Myron Gaines, I call him the dingy, felonious Gru. From Despicable Me. I want y'all to look at him. He looks like a dingy, felonious Gru. That's what he looks like to me. He's so ugly. So, oh no, I would never have none of them clowns on my show. He looked like Timon. He looked like a dingy, felonious Gru. Let me show y'all. If you don't know who that is. Felonious Gru. Dingy. A dingy version of him. I think he is hilarious. So you can never win with these niggas. One moment they asking, what do you bring to the table more than pussy? What do you bring to the table more than your beauty? And remember, all the stuff that they have put on a pedestal to value, because they don't really like women. They like vagina. They don't like women. They like vagina. They don't like women. They like vagina. Like patriarchy teaches you and conditions you to not like women. If you do something, you're feminine, you're a pussy, you do it like a girl. If you do something, if it's negative, you do it like a girl. They position girls to be negative, to be a bad thing. Vagina, a good thing. Get all the vagina, get all the vagina, all the vagina, all the vagina. You're more of a man if you get all the vagina. But you don't supposed to like women. You don't supposed to like the things that women like. You don't supposed to you supposed to talk shit about the things that women do, or you're doing all the makeup, you're doing all the wigs, you're doing all the lashes, especially if it's a black woman. You're doing all this stuff. We don't like that. We like it natural. Yeah. Even though I'm liking and clicking on all the BBL girls, all the light-skinned girls, all the all the straight hair girls, I'm doing all the stuff that is rooted in white supremacy and Eurocentric beauty standards. But oh my God, I hate all the stuff that black women do and why y'all don't listen to us and da 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 da. They are trained to not like girls and girl stuff. They are trained to like vagina, to objectify you. That's what it is. But then they will say, what do you bring to the table more than that? What do you bring to the table besides pussy, besides beauty, besides being pretty, and blah, 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 blah. Then when you say, I got degrees, I got my business, I done got my own house, because black women are the most degree demographic. They also the most business owners, sole proprietor, entrepreneurs. They're the top demographic in that. They are also the home ownership, single woman getting home ownership, that they are high as fuck. So they say I bring all of this to the table, and then they flip the script. They say, "Oh no, you're too independent. No. A man wants to be needed. A man wants to. We can't do anything for you. You're emasculating us if we can't need you. If we can't pay your bills. Oh, I want all my bills paid. Oh, you're a gold digger. How dare you chase after my money? You're a gold digger. You're a gold digger. What am I supposed to do? If I want some coin from you and I want you to be taken care of, I'm a gold digger and all about money. But if I have my own and I'm self-sufficient, then I'm emasculating you. Can't fucking win. You keep moving the goalposts, especially you niggas, especially you men, because traditionally, and I talked about this in my video called The Myth of the Traditional Man. It is on my it is, I don't know if I switched it, but anyway, it's on the channel. It's The Myth of the Traditional Man. Black men have never made enough money for us to be taken care of because of racism. We know that it's because of racism and the lack of opportunity. So we know the reason. We're not delusional about that. They rarely have been in a position where we could just sit at home and not work. That's why we were maids and seamstresses and working the factories. When the white girls were having their feminist movement, that we were already starting, when y'all started to pay attention to their feminist movement. Because we were already complaining about doing the same work in the factories with men and not getting the same amount of money. We were already on our feminist shit. But y'all, because of white supremacy and y'all listening to the white girls, y'all think that it just came up with Betty Friedan. But we were already complaining about the unfair conditions of pay. We were already on our equal unequal ground and talking about it. We was already on feminist shit, but y'all were just paying attention to the white girls. Y'all were ignoring black women. We were already talking about how unfair it is that we got to be out here working and the white women get to sit in their middle class houses, and we were literally having to be their maids after Reconstruction. But y'all were listening to the white girls. And so y'all think that this is a feminist thing. This is a white woman's thing. This is a white woman's thing, but it's not. Y'all had never been in the position for us to sit in the house and just be housewives. Is it some? Sure, I'm not talking absolute, but in general, black men didn't make enough money like that. They just didn't because of racism. So that's just what it is. So we always had to work. We always had to contribute. So that balance of duties in the household was never balanced for us as black women. It was never that. It was never balanced for us. Got it? So this idea that, oh, we want to go back to the traditional, we never was at the traditional. And still don't. Facts. We were never at the traditional, baby. It's the data is there. We was never at the traditional. If you are watching, make sure you thumbs up. We were never at the traditional. So it's always ironic to me for us to have, we see these men with these toxic mindsets. And it's beautiful that George, aka Consciously, is calling it out, but he's not the default. Most of the time, the gaggle of clowns, they all join in the chorus. They all join in. Hell, they can barely take care of themselves. They need women. Women don't need them. We talked about that the other day. They're still underpaid. Absolutely. We talked about that the other day. It's not usually women that are dying alone in hospice care, in these nursing homes. The nurses and the hospice people say that the women always got friends and family coming to visit them. It's the men that's dying alone. It's not us. It's not women. Even women without children, they love to be like, you're gonna grow old and not have children and nobody's gonna take care of you. No, that's not what it is. And then another element, the Kiki, another element. Look, when you call them out, and then they'll give responses like Slim Thug recently. Slim Thug recently said, y'all talking about I'm gonna grow old and lonely as a black man. As long as I got money, I'll never grow old and lonely. This is what he said. I'll never grow old and lonely. Long as I got money, I can always have a woman. I can always have one. So do you want us to use you for your money or not? Because if he said I can fuck the nurse if I got money. I always got a woman. So that means a woman doesn't have value to you if it's just her vagina that you're after. Yeah, you can fuck the nurse, but is she gonna care for you? Yeah, you can get a gold digger who want to use you for money and stability and come up. But is she going to care for you? For real? And then if you're using your money as your leverage, cool. I'm okay with you doing that. But is that the kind of care that you want? Because y'all complain about bitches coming after you about your money. So what is it? What is it that you want? You're not fucking the nurse at 70. Maybe he might. If he got money, I'm sure it's a nurse that'll get his money and fuck him. Sex work don't stop. Money will make anybody do anything. But is it care? Yeah, it's just interesting. It's crazy. All right, so oh, The dick stop at a certain age. Not everybody's, baby. I got some older men, and they got two. They got pills for that. I'm wearing indecent today. Indecence. Organza, Givenchy. Oh, I love it. Mm. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. This is discontinued though, so you can't find this unless it's on like some. Oh, it smells so good. It's very spicy and vanilla and sweet, and it's a gourmand, but it's like a fresh gourmand. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I don't think most men think about the care part, but they don't typically care. Yes, but they complain about a woman. They want to have the utility of money. They want the power that money gives you in controlling people to come at you. They want to use the money. They want the money to use it as a powerful tool, not realizing that you're moving like a white supremacist. But anyway, a capitalist. They want the power to use money, but they want to complain about the people who use the money to come up. You get this money, you become rich, and not everybody becomes rich. You get this money and become rich, and then you mad at the Drea Michelle's that's trying to get houses and cars and lifestyles out of you. But that's literally all you have to offer. You get mad at them just offering pussy, but all you offering is money. Because you're not loyal. You're trying to be Neo, covering up the fact that you gay with 4 different women. clock that T. Because you cannot tell me that man is not an agate. You can't tell me that's not an agate, baby. My gaydar be. You can't tell me, and I think the whole women having women, poly women, that is your way of covering that. Those are 4 beards, baby. 4 beards. 4 beards. I don't care. 4 beards. Agate a hat. Let me tell you, child. Anyway, all right, let me go. Let me connect the dots. Connect the dots. Where we at? We at 1 hour. Connect the dots. Connect the dots. All right. Agate. I saved it. I saved it. I saved it. Okay, we connecting the dots, right? We connecting the dots. So we have set the stage, and we know that there are just toxic men out here. This is why Docheii said that. But there's nuances. We know that there's some unicorns. We know that there's some good men. Da 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 da. He gives elite faggery true. Yes, it ain't just subtle. It ain't like what's his name? What's the cute one from Abbott Elementary, the main heartthrob, the black one? That kind of give film a little bit. I'm not saying he agate, but he could be. But it goes off. He is there. But something Tyler James. Everybody hates Chris. You know, it's not. It's actually worse. Like it's like, and I love him, but yeah, Tyler James Williams, love him. But you know how he gives a unapologetic softness. He's not trying to give no weird ass hard straight man. He's giving like a metrosexual soft straight man that could easily, to some untrained person, it could easily come off as, oh, he might be gay, or but it could come off that, because maybe you don't understand that there are some soft straight men, okay? But Neo, he gives a particular kind of agate. Yeah, artsy soft. You know that I've met men like that. I've met people like that. So he could absolutely be straight. But Neo gave a particular kind of agate. It's a particular. It's a level to that thing. And no, it's just anyway. So all right, so y'all ready? We connecting the dots. Now let's go over to thank you. Guaranteed. thank you, babe. Neo is theater fish. Ah, come on. He's a closet cross dresser, period. I wouldn't say theater, maybe preacher's son. Y'all clocking it. Y'all right there. Cruising the library agate. Y'all right there. Y'all know what I mean. We know the culture. We know our people. We know the culture. Lead choir. I don't know about lead. His voice ain't sickening like that. All right, so let's clock this. Y'all ready? All right, so we're making these connections. So Docheii says that the straight men got the red flag. We clearly just saw a video of the straight culture, patriarchy just being running rampant, and this is why y'all is the red flag. Still choir, very tambourine. Period. All right, so let's go to another video. Y'all following me? Y'all following me so far? Okay. I love connecting these contents in the context of my audience. I love this. So let's get it. If you are watching, it is 63 people in here. Make sure you thumbs up. It is free. You don't have to pay for it. So go ahead. Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
I love Dara.
Pay attention to this clip. All right. I made a video a couple of days ago saying, stop feeling sorry for white women. Stop asking them if they're okay when they make the decision to hitch themselves to powerful white men who are all about the patriarchy, who are all about white supremacy, who are anti-LGBTQ, whatever. Stop acting like these women have no choice. This is a conscious choice a lot of them are making because it gives them protection in society. And I had some pushback in the comments from a few women going, this is anti-woman. This is sexist. Because just because these women are conservative does not mean that they aren't women. You know, they could be in manipulative, controlling, abusive relationships. This is all about abuse and manipulation and control.
Shut up, girl.
The point of the video was, stop making that assumption.
Exactly.
Stop making the assumption that there is usually manipulation and control and abuse involved when a woman aligns
They're
herself
making a decision.
with white supremacy or the patriarchy. They are making a conscious decision. Well, I want to show you a video from a show called Love is Blind. I do not watch this show, but this video came across my feed, and it is a perfect example of what it means for a woman to reject this, okay? And in this clip, Sarah is actually rejecting this guy named Ben because he has aligned himself with white supremacy, with the patriarchy. He's trying to downplay this in their relationship, but she picks up on it very quickly, actually. She's 28 years old. She's a young, blondish white woman. She's the prize, but she makes the conscious decision to not go along just to get
Clock
along.
it.
This
Watch
is pretty
it.
incredible, actually. I love you so much. But I've always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength. And so today I can't. I'm sorry, but I don't want that to be misunderstood. I still love you, and everything about you is amazing. And I care about you so much. Okay. Yeah. Like, I remember, like, I asked him about, like, Black Lives Matter, and I'm no expert. But, like, when I asked him about it, he's like, I guess I never really thought too much about it. That affected me, especially in our own city. Like, how could it not? How did it not make you think about something? I asked him, too, like, what his church's views are, and he said he didn't know. And so then I watched a sermon online from his church about, sexual identity. Okay. And it was traditional. I told that to Ben, and he doesn't really have much to say about it, I want him to think about that stuff. Sometimes I did wonder if it was surface, fun, carefree love that we had, Now, this is a woman who would be considered high value by society standards, right? Young, pretty, white, blonde, thin, straight, Christian. And she is choosing to advocate for the marginalized above securing her position in society. And this is not something that a lot of young, white, blonde, straight Christian women are taught to do. She could have gotten the ring, metaphorically and literally, and she chose not to do it. And this is what I'm talking about. These are the kinds of decisions that most women are not making at this age. So before we start talking about manipulation and control, supposedly being the reason that a lot of these women are in the positions that they are, let's talk about the decisions that they are making walking into these relationships in the first place.
All right. So I wanted, we making connections, right? There are a lot of women who consciously align with the bullshit that we just talked about to benefit from it. There is a lot of people, this particularly is talking about a white girl, okay? But they are not the only ones. Blondie said he's not gonna handmaid me. And clock what she said. She was like, the Black Lives Matter stuff didn't make you think about anything. Like it didn't trigger you at all. Like you didn't have any kind of reflections. I go to your church. You say you don't know what any position in your church, and I go to your church and see a sermon, an anti-LGBT sermon, and this is the church you go to. And you have no thoughts about it, you don't know anything about it, and you want me to marry you. Now, we talk about the pressures of it because the world tells you this is what you're supposed to do as a woman. All right. And so her homegirls in the car that she was talking to, they could have been a mom and they could have been like, girl, you tripping. You gonna give up this good man over some Black Lives political stuff? And they love to say, why everything gotta be so political? This is what they will say to accept this homophobia, to accept this racism, to accept this white supremacist ideal model. This patriarchal ideal model. They'll say, oh, I don't want to be political. You see that with these immigrants down in Florida, from Venezuela or from Cuba who voted for Trump and now they getting deported. And they was like, I don't want to make this too political, but they lied to us. How did you think that this was not political? Everything is about politics. Everything. I don't want to make this political, but they lied to us. We didn't expect them to do it to us. They will give all of these excuses. I don't want to. Why would I leave my man for that stuff? Because that ideology is what's going to harm you too. Saying it's not political is a political play. Clock it, Coco. It is literally. Down there singing, I will vote for Trump. So this is a rare moment when somebody is giving up that position, like Dara pointed out, giving up that position. No, those people knew what the outcome would be. They thought that they would be excluded. Yes. So they didn't think that which means they didn't know that the outcome would be them being included. They thought that they weren't going to be in the roundup. But I don't want to go back to the men. I want to stay because we done talked about the men. We know it's easy to engage with the conservative men. We know. Let's talk about the people who choose to align with the men. We done talked about the men. That's why I started there. I don't want us to go back. I want us to start about we connected the dots. We know the man is trash. We know the man is a red flag. We know. We know how that works. So let's talk about the queen. We know who the king is. Let's talk about the queens who align. And especially if you're using the analogy of chess, the queen is one of the most powerful pieces on the board. We know daughters of the Confederacy. We know how they can play moves that can be just as beneficial for their kings. Anyway, so we see this rare moment of the white woman saying, no, I want you to be on the right track with me and my politics. And there are some white women that don't do that at all. They just go along. So that's a white woman. Have y'all seen it in black women? If you say you haven't, you're a damn lie. I've seen it in black women too. These first ladies of church, these black women who will be in these relationships with homophobic men who's sitting at home while their man is being all kinds of homophobic, but they go into the beauty shop getting their hair done by their gay friend. Your gay friend can't come to your house because your man is so homophobic. But you can go out and party with your gay friend. They are choosing to align with these patriarchs. That's the same thing. That white girl just gave it up. How many of your cisgender black women would be willing to give up their partners who have patriotic politics? How many have you seen do that? I'm sure it's some, but they're rare. How many cis women are saying, you know what? I am not transphobic. And you sitting here talking about how trans women are not women makes my pussy dry up. And I don't want to fuck you because I think trans women are women. How many of them are actually choosing to shell out consequences for those politics? Instead of saying, well, that's him. I can ignore it. I can ignore it. I can, that's oppressing somebody else, but he likes me. This happened with colorism. You see the black dudes coming up to the light-skinned girls. I don't even like dark-skinned bitches. You red. You got that pretty red skin tone. That's why I like you. I don't even like dark-skinned bitches. Are you the light-skinned girl that says and think that shit is cute? I'm not. I don't think that shit's cute. Because it's anti-black in there. Even though you praising me and putting me on a pedestal, that's not the kind of pedestal that I want to be on. Because I know that pedestal is rooted in anti-blackness. Ratchet example, Carisha Diddy. Turn a blind eye to a Chanel bag. Not just Carisha. We don't want to talk. It's every woman that was with him. His mother, who knew shit was going on. J-Lo, Misha Hilton, who knew shit was going on. Everybody who was aligning with his money. And the abused, what's her name? Why can't Cassie. It doesn't justify her abuse, but You align with that nigga for the benefits. It doesn't justify you being abused, but you can't deny that you stayed as long as you did for them benefits. Because even just based on the lawsuit, how she, the details lawsuit, and then I watched a recent documentary that came out where we was talking about J-Lo got out of there for fairness, got out of there fast and never looked back. She got out of there when it started to be criminal. He was already doing bad stuff before that. When it started to be that public criminal thing, when he shot that girl in the face in the club. Then she got out, but he had already done bad stuff that was industry known shit, and she's still aligned with him. So she's still trash. So uh, and people can be exploitative too. Andrea Kelly still using his name. Still using his name. And that's subtle ways that you can align with a motherfucker. Who else? Camille Cosby, Hillary Clinton. Your husband embarrassed you. And I'm not saying that that I'm not saying that I don't make decisions like this myself. Not big decisions. I ain't been with no rich patriarch. So I'm not saying that Hillary would have been. It's not. I'm not saying that I don't understand why Hillary stayed with Bill. I actually get it. I understand why. Hey M, love your fit. Thank you. Like, it's just a white turtleneck. This is my sit your $5 ass down before I make change, but in white. Instead of me having the chain across the neck, I got the chain in the earrings. That was my Nino Brown was my inspiration today. Since we talking our shit. Harvey Weinstein's wife was on the Oscar a couple of weeks ago. She's now married to Adrian Brody. Oh, I did not know that at work. I love my sister, but I would have left Jay-Z ass back in 07. Deja Vu would have came out and that would have been it. I don't know what and this is also there's a nuance, and this, yeah, I would have left him. But it's not saying that it's not saying that people can't grow. If they're growing and you are seeing them shifting and you're seeing them getting better and blah 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 blah, then do what you got to do. I understand you staying with a nigga and working it out and blah 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 blah. Especially if you got kids and you got a career, and your money is tied up in this nigga. Da, da. I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong, but you are. I want you to consciously know that you are making a decision to align with that. They're saying B is planning on leaving him soon. I don't think that, because B is very, very strategic about keeping her shit to herself. We wouldn't know what B was doing. There wouldn't be no secret plan that people would know about. She's not leaving that man. The layman wouldn't know what is going on. Mm-mm. I actually don't want her to. I actually don't want her to leave Jay-Z. I want Jay-Z to grow. I actually don't. I want Jay-Z to grow. It's certain people that I haven't been I don't know what Jay-Z has done in the past. I don't know what he has done. So, I don't know. So nothing has came out about him that makes me feel like he doesn't have room to grow. I'm not trying to reform a P. Diddy. I haven't seen no experience with Jay-Z to me that is so egregious that's like, oh, fuck you, nigga. Is he a regular degga nigga that probably fuck bitches and da 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 da? Sure. I just feel he hasn't done anything that he couldn't grow from. Somebody like Diddy, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, no, you niggas need to be under the jail. I'm not invested in y'all growth. But there are some people who I just think they just gotta get room to grow. Even even Chris Brown, if the one thing that he done was the Rihanna thing, it would have been horrible. But if he went and paid his dues and came back and Rihanna was like, yo, I appreciate, and Rihanna forgave him and he didn't do anything else, I felt like he could have been on a path to um redemption. Because I do believe in restorative justice. I do believe in that. When you have wronged people. But you can't keep doing stuff. You can't be unapologetic about shit that you're doing. You can't keep doing that. If you that means you haven't learned anything and you're not growing. So you still trash to me. Chris would have earned the redemption. You're right. If you don't went and did your time, um the person who you harmed forgave you and did her process. Like, it was a whole process that could have been done, but you continue to harm other people. Yeah. It's just strange. It's just weird. It's just stupid. So I wanted to bring that video up because that is big pressure. It is, and it's not hard. Like, I remember people got mad at me in the comments. There was this video of Holly Berry talking about aging gracefully. And sometimes I be in my bag in the comments and I be saying stuff that may be problematic, but maybe not be problematic. But my point with Holly Berry was, Holly, you are a traditionally beautiful woman. You're gonna be beautiful for the rest of your life. Even if it's an older woman beauty, that beauty is gonna be there. I've seen older women who was beauty and they still beautiful, and you got the money to do the upkeep. So you are going to having this kind of mindset of, oh, I'm trying to age gracefully from a traditionally beautiful woman. It don't have the same ring to it. And somebody was calling me out saying, well, because she's so traditionally beautiful, it's going to be even more pressure to maintain her youthfulness. I get it, but that's after benefiting for years and having the money and the benefits of the spoils of being beautiful. No, it's not. That's not the rebellious take that I think that you think that it is. I don't know. It just did. It didn't feel like somebody that's traditionally beautiful talking about just just fading. That just doesn't feel like it's rebellious to me. But there are some pressures that are just there, and that's going to be there for somebody who don't got no money. For some, there's our pressures that are there. And in that clip with that white girl, there's people who have families that will disinherit her if she did that, if she left a good man. Holly Berry would be beautiful in her home. Exactly. Pamela Anderson. But Pamela, I'm glad you brought her up. Pamela Anderson, God, beauty is an eye beholder. So this, you may not agree with this because you may think something different of Pamela Anderson. But to me, Pamela Anderson is a regular white girl that got implants and did her makeup a certain way that made her look like a Barbarella bombshell. She is regular. If she took out all that stuff, she was not a naturally pretty woman. She was just a regular girl to me. But it might be that might be maybe where I'm good because beauty's an eye to beholder. But even when she was younger, Pam was also 90s skinny. When she was younger, she had to do stuff to be pretty. It wasn't like Halle Berry. Halle Berry is pretty without makeup. Halle Berry looked. There's people who like Lauren London, like a Gabrielle Union, there are some bitches who is like they ain't gotta do nothing for real, and they gonna be pretty. Do y'all get? I'm not saying she's not pretty when she's made up and done up, blah 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 blah. But I don't think that Pam is a standout beauty without all of the stuff that she was doing. I don't think if Pamela didn't have them implants, didn't have that no ass, no hips body, she wasn't shaped like the letter P. Like she was it was there's a difference between being a natural beauty and a manufactured beauty. There's a difference between Pamela Anderson and Linda Evangelista. There's a difference between Pamela Anderson and Cindy Crawford. Like these girls are like she's no Angelina Jolie. Yes, Angelina Jolie looks like a beauty even when she's not done up. I don't think it I don't think Pamela Anderson without the stuff would have been a beauty. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that some people are beauties because it's just fucking there. Now they can put makeup on and be done and da da da, but even without it, it's there. I don't think Pamela was a beauty to me. I don't think. Let me look at Pamela when she was younger. With no, do we ever see Pamela with no makeup when she was younger? Pamela Anderson, no makeup, younger. Hmm, okay, maybe I'm tripping. She was cute, but it wasn't. It was regular to me. But maybe because I be thinking white girls be regular. It's not bad, But it ain't like you see her walking down the street. Are you gonna look at her and say, "Oh, that's a stunning beauty"? It's gonna be a classic white girl. Maybe I'm tripping. She was pretty on Baywatch. On Baywatch, she was done up. She was stunning on Baywatch. But I'm talking about her regular look when she was younger. Yeah, she looks like a regular white woman. This is her without no makeup, young. I don't consider this white girl pretty. This is white girl regular. I don't consider that pretty. That's white girl regular to me. Here she go again. She got on makeup, but it's natural makeup. I see her at Texas bars all the time. That's not it's not ugly, but that's just regular. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't I just don't find her to be I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but yeah, I don't find her to I like what she doing with the no makeup thing now. I think that that's dope. Pamela is Midwest pretty for sure. And that might be, even though, don't play with me, honey. I'm from the Midwest, and most of the beauties are from the Midwest that we know of today. We just talked about Holly Berry. Holly Berry is from Ohio. Most of the beauties that we know are from the Midwest. Don't try us, honey. Don't try us. Now I know that there's a difference when you come to LA and when we come to Miami. A 10 in this area may not be a 10 in this area because a lot of beautiful people, like when you go to LA, seeing a beautiful motherfucker is not uncommon because all the girls is coming there because they want to be stars, the pretty girls. But the coastal girls give up differently. When you go to it's so many pretty girls in that's concentrated in these areas because they're going to these areas for things, and I get it. A 10 in LA is not going to be a 10 in Kansas City. A 10 in Kansas City is not going to be a 10 in LA because there's so many of you. Yeah, I don't consider her bad from a West Coast point of view. Yeah, I find this to be quite regular. I don't think it's ugly. You can look at her. I would look at her and say, "Ooh, I can do her. She's a great blank canvas." Now this is a pretty picture. Now this is pretty. I think she looks gorgeous right there. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. Certain pictures I'm like it's regular, and some pictures I'm like, "Oh, that's cute." But maybe because she's smiling. I don't know. But I never got my life. And I'm a black woman. So who was my beauty icons was not Pamela Anderson. Olivia Newton John. I thought Olivia was cute, but what does she look like younger with no makeup? Olivia Newton John younger with no makeup. She got on makeup, but bitch, she was sickening. She was sickening. Workout. Work. No, she ain't got it. She might have on makeup, but it's not enough to really tell there. She look beat. Yeah, I feel like this is sickening. But I don't know. That might be regular degular too. that might be regular too. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe she's not regular. I just don't know how to judge white women because they be giving. I feel like who's that model? Um I just don't find them to be regular. Who's that? Huntington Wheatley? Huntington Whitley? Rosie Huntington Wheatley. Rosie Huntington Wheatley, no makeup. Let me see. Yeah, I think that this is yeah, I think that she's a stunning beauty. I find her to be beautiful. But maybe but she model, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping too. So I find her to be stunning. Just naturally with no makeup on. Her structure eats. But is she regular? I don't find her to be regular. I don't really see girls that look like her in real life, to me. But maybe she regular to some other people. I find this is the type of white girl that I think is gorgeous. They look, and when you put them in makeup, it just takes them to another level. When you put them in makeup, see, Bella Hadid, I like Gigi better than Bella. I find if I'm comparing the sisters, Gigi Hadid, yeah, I find Gigi to be way more sickening. Yeah, I like Gigi better. I like Gigi's face better. Yeah, I find that to be interesting. So I'm getting off track. so so yes, I think I'm just thinking it's not a it's and I'm saying all of this to say it's not if you're traditionally beautiful, it is not hard for you to you benefit so much from your beauty that it's not hard for you to age gracefully. To me, I don't think it is. But maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's like, oh, because you have beauty and it's fading, that makes it harder than somebody who doesn't really have access to that beauty. Of course, you can age gracefully because you never had beauty anyway. Maybe I'm not being nuanced. I could be wrong. Um, and that may be different. It may be different. It may be easier for a person who never had access to being traditionally beautiful to age gracefully as opposed to a person who is traditionally beautiful aging gracefully because the pressure is different because there's difference between you losing something that you never had and you having that power, that beauty and social capital that beauty gives you and then losing it. But in my brain, you have benefited so much from it that you ain't go- girl, you have access to the best of the best. So I say all of that to say that it is some people, it is a pressure by their community for them to make this alignment with patriarchy, to get married, to not be single, to have kids, and do all the stereotypical stuff. So she could be in front of that wedding and wanting to know, and the red flag is there. The red flag is flagging, flaming, da 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 da. And her family will be in that car telling her, "Girl, what are you doing? You love him," and blah 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 blah, and not putting her in the position to make the decision. And she could be pressured into marrying somebody who she knows is not politically aligned with her. So her making that decision to go back to leave that marriage with somebody that she loves, to give him a chance to grow before I actually marry you. I need you to pay attention to your church being crazy. I need you to pay attention to white supremacy. I need you to understand and learn and evolve before I marry you. There are some people who do not give up that privilege for their politics, and that's powerful for them to do, because some people will align with shit just to have this image, just to have this image of perfection, just to be a mom, just to be a wife, just to have the label of wife. Your husband could be dogging you out, and just for you to be able to say, "But I got a husband, Rashida." A husband, something that I got and you don't want, but he's dogging you out. So who cares? Does it really matter that you got a husband if he's stringing you through the mud? Does it matter that you said yes and went down the aisle? Somebody chose you, somebody picked you. Does it matter if he's fucking bitches and getting babies on you? Is it really a flex? Is it really a flex? I don't think so. But is it really a flex? I don't think so. What do y'all think? Is it a flex? I don't think it's a flex. So thumbs up if you're watching. So but some people, just to have that label, just to have, I have a wife and a family. I mean, I have a husband and a family. We live together. I have a 2-parent household, but he's kicking your ass. He's abusing you and the kids. But I just didn't want to break up my family. I just didn't want to, whatever. Is that worth it? I was looking at old clips of Rashida last night. She looked like a plum fool. Yes, it's a plum fool. It's a couple of plum fools. Her and Yandy. I feel like Yandy be being weird too. They making you look like fools. Her and Yandy. Got it? All right. So we have talked about the trash red flags of the cis men, and we talked about people who align and how it takes. My point is, it takes courage for you to not align with the status quo, whatever that status quo is. It takes courage for you to make the decision to say, I'm not aligning with this shit. I think this shit is wrong. And there are some people who will bend and twist the rules in order to make it right, just to align with these bad people or these bad ideologies. And they will say shit that doesn't make fucking sense because they don't have the courage to actually say, this is not right. This doesn't make sense. This is wrong. This is shady. And because they want to align and be next as close as possible to either a patriarch or even misogyny or to these misogynistic people, to seem like I'm a regular person, to seem like I'm not one of them. I'm special. They want to seem like I'm not one of them clown coon, them clown ghetto Negroes. So I'm gonna act this way. I'm instead of it being I'm just different because I'm different, it's I'm different in comparison. I'm not gay. I'm not them ball scene going to gay clubs kind of gay. I'm a different kind of gay. I'm more masculine. I don't think they say shit and this is a whole nother we talk about a whole nother demographic. Gay men. I know y'all know these people. I'm not gay. I am, I'm masculine and I don't feel like I need to be feminine to be gay. No, you don't. But how you're talking is putting down those femme people who are just naturally femme. And you're trying to put your masculinity because you're able to perform masculinity in a certain way. You're trying to put your masculinity on a pedestal like it's something better. You still getting dick in your ass, buddy. You still getting cum down your throat, buddy. You're still gay. The people who hate gays are still gonna hate you because they don't hate you they don't hate gay because of whether it's feminine or masculine or not. They hate gay because you're getting dick in your butt and you're supposed to be liking vagina like them and liking vagina and hating women like them. So the people that you're trying to impress and that you're trying to be closer to ain't gonna like you regardless. So you making some big old distinction. Oh, I'm not gay. I'm not Vogue the House Down Boots gay. I'm not ball scene gay. I'm not whatever. I'm not fat. Whatever it is, I'm not that kind of gay. It takes courage for you to be masculine, a masculine gay man, and stand in your truth and say, yes, I am different, but this is special and different and amazing too. This feminine, flamboyant gay is too. It takes courage to do that. But because there is some kind of social capital that you earn by being this special masculine gay, that's upheld not only by patriarchs over here, but some of the people who fetishize masculinity over here, even the femme ones. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Y'all have experienced those people who fetishizes masculinity in a way that gives them fuel to think that it's okay. Even within the community. We know that the straights is gonna be gay. We know they not gonna make no difference. Whether you a top or a bottom, film or mask. Whether you can get clocked or unclocked, you're gay. Because the default is to be homophobic. We know that that's what happens over there. But how does that affect people within the community? And who we privilege, who has the courage to say, yo, yes, I am masculine, however that works, whatever that is. But I also think that this femininity over here is special too. And both of them are okay. And I'm even though I'm not that, I that has value too. I don't need to position myself as to say that gets on my nerves. That type of gay gets on my nerves. And the flamboyant gays is paving the way for you, the rest of you masculine gays. You're benefiting from it. You hoes can get married. You can be the OBO Jones and his man. You can be this perfect masculine couple, which I love them, so I'm not shading them, but they can be this perfect masculine couple and get married and deal with the benefits of what these femme masculine gays and trans women have laid the path for them to benefit from. It's the extreme that had to buck up against the system and open up the door for you to come bring your happy-go-lucky, masculine, baggy clothes, no makeup, however you do your hair, barely washing your ass through the door. All right. So y'all, we connecting the dots? Are we connecting the dots? How this all is working? We ready to go to the next level? We ready to go to that? It takes courage to not. So this portion was with that video with the white girl is to show how you can have courage to not align with this bullshit. There's a lot of people on our side of the aisle that is aligning with this bullshit. That was a white girl moment. There's a black male, cishet black male who is going to align with white supremacy, patriarchy too. We already showed that in the video before. This, okay, we see where we're going, right? We see where we're going. Are we connecting the dots? Y'all following me so far? This is a side note, but they are so boring to me. They are boring, but they fine. The privilege of beauty, darling. Privilege of beauty. I get so tired of them. Go date in the gyms and showers, bro. Go have dates in the gym showers. All right, so we ready for the next. We ready for the next. All right, we ready? Let me go to the next. Shout out to my homegirl, Tia. She sent me this video earlier, and it went right along with my things. All right, so this is Hurricane Katrina. I think she's a trans TikToker. I don't think she is. She's a trans TikToker. I don't know her personally, but so the context of this video is she is in a shelter. This trans woman is in a shelter, and she's talking about another trans person in a shelter, in an all women's shelter. The person who is talking is a trans person in an all women's shelter talking about another trans person in an all women's shelter.
Say something. When it comes to other people, I mind my business. I don't speak on other people. I mind my business when it comes to certain stuff. But some things you have to speak up on, okay?
Now, you already starting off. I hate when people start off, I usually mind my business. I mind my business. I mind my business. I mind my business. But then you in other folks' business.
So this individual just blocked me on TikTok because I asked them, how do they allow you to be in a all-woman shelter or whatever? And, the person said whatever they said, and then they blocked me. Now, I'm not coming for the fact that the person's in a shelter because I'm in a shelter as well. I'm in an all-woman shelter. And I think when this is where everything comes about with the whole Trump thing and all these different whatever that's going on. So this person the person said he identifies trans or whatever. So it's like one day the person's a girl, second day the person's a boy. And don't get me wrong, being trans has nothing to do with surgery. You don't have to have surgery to be a trans woman. Let me clear that up. Okay? But this person is like when they feel like they want to throw a wig on in a tight t-shirt, they put on they do whatever. But most of the person videos, they're identified and they're dressed and their look is a man, a male. They have on a fitted hat, boy clothes, da-da-da-da. It's basically a boy. You get what I'm saying? But then when the person decides that they want to be a girl that day, then they'll dress up as a girl. I feel like that's not safe and that's not okay. for that kind of person to be in a all-woman shelter. I know some people probably gonna be like, "Well, girl, wasn't you born a man? Why are you in a woman shelter?" Boom, boom, boom. Because I'm a fully trans woman. You get what I'm saying? I don't go back and forth. I'm not a girl some days and I'm not a boy some days. I live my life 24, 8, 9, 7. Listen, I'm a girl every single day. You get what I'm saying? When I wake up, I have on panties.
Same, Brandon.
But my whole thing is like, I just feel like it be things like this that make people look at certain situations, how they look at it or whatever. And I'm the only reason I asked the person why were they in, a woman shelter, because, the video, the person was a guy, but the person said they identify as non-binary. I don't know all the new words and all the other stuff. All I know is LGBTQ. I don't know about the JKL I don't know about all the other stuff or whatever. But my concern is like,
you see, this is intellectually lazy. And remember the status that I showed y'all earlier about him calling us the alphabet people? She just did the same exact thing. And this is a whole trans woman. The whole, I know the LGBTQ, but the JKL, that is the same. The root of that statement is the same that straight cis people do when they talking about alphabet people, all these letters, and I don't understand all of that. I don't know all the other words and all the other things. It's the same thing. Okay.
Like, you're in an all-woman shelter. You saying that you are trans, but you don't date men. You're attracted to women, and you only date females, and you're in an all-woman shelter as well. So it's just, it's just like a little, it becomes a little confusing to me, and then it becomes a little, I don't want to say the wrong things. It becomes like, is that safe? If I'm wrong, y'all tell me I'm wrong. Like, I'm okay with being wrong. You get what I'm saying? And I'm okay with making a mistake. If I am wrong, I apologize. But this is just how I feel. And don't get me wrong, I've commented on this person's videos before because the person seemed really, really cool. The person seemed like a really, really cool person. But I just feel like being in a woman's shelter and you're not 100% a trans woman or identify as a trans girl, you shouldn't be in a woman's shelter, especially when you're attracted to females. Let me say something. When it comes to other people, I mind my business. I don't.
All right, so let's just start it over. So what are y'all thoughts on that? Before I get to sharing my thoughts, what are y'all thoughts? Her logic, the lesbians need to leave the shelter too. What a loser. Mm-hmm. Coco, I was thinking the same thing. She looks like Kalu. Can we not? Can we not? Can we not talk about people's looks? Let's focus. Because baby, that who feel no strikes again almost took me out. I tried to ignore it, but but can we not focus on looks? Focus on the subject matter, y'all. So I hate the way people talk about trans lesbian assuming that they are predator just because they are attracted to women. That is all right. We go in there. What else? What else? What else? Thank you. I don't even know what's that word. Tenebrous. Is that a word or did you make that up? Let me see what that means. I love new words. I don't know what that word is. Tenebrous. Dark, shadowy, and obscure. I like that word.
Tenebrous.
Tenebrous. All right, let's see. Her language is problematic, but what do you think about the non-binary part of her concern? I knew that was going to be something that people brought up. Yeah, I think that's a good. I'm not saying because there's a lot of trans people who align with that non-binary point because they're aligning with cis people. You got to understand if you are saying that you have to be either or, that means you align with the idea that binary people should not be binary. I mean, non-binary people should not be non-binary. It is a common view that you need to decide. You need to decide to be a man or a woman. And if you are not either one of them, don't get mad at the consequences that come when people can't figure out what you are. Usually some kind of harm. They justify the harm. So that's what I feel about the non-binary part. I feel like it's dumb and stupid. And I feel like it is creating a hierarchy that says, I'm a real trans woman if I align with cisgender norms. Those other motherfuckers are not really trans. I'm really trans because because she tries to clean it up and says being trans is not about surgeries. But also being trans is not about aligning with what cisgender people are doing. Now, logically, yes, you can make assumptions. You got to understand the world we live in. There is assumptions that are going to be made. If you're running around looking like a regular dude, naturally people can assume that you're a dude. That's naturally. So nobody is saying that the assumption is wrong. What I'm saying is wrong is you as a trans woman being a black kettle, calling the black pot black, and then having the nerve to bring up Trump. This and saying this is why the Trump shit is happening. Because baby, the Trump people, they don't want you in the women's shelter. You're not a woman to them. It doesn't matter how beautiful and how much you align with cisgender stuff. You're not a woman to them. So the same thing that you're doing to this non-binary person that is not performing their gender like you think they should, they think the same thing about you. It doesn't matter. You can have all the surgeries, you can be all the woman, you can have all the wig, all the weaves, the natural hair. You can look exactly like a woman. They don't think that you should be there just because you was born a certain way. But you're trying to be this pick-me person. Maggot says she can catch the fade as well. Absolutely. You're trying to be this pick-me person. And like somebody said earlier, just you liking women does not mean you a fucking predator. And like somebody pointed out earlier, you talking about 1 minute they're a girl, 1 minute they're a boy. What about cisgender studs who are homeless? If they running around with a fitted hat and boys' clothes in that shelter, should they not be able to go there? Because what's the difference between her being femme sometimes and being masculine sometimes, and a stud being masculine and being femme sometimes? Are they gonna not be welcome in the shelter? Since surgeries don't matter, what's between her legs don't matter. Is she a woman? If she coming in with baggy clothes and fitted hats looking like a little boy, should she be kicked out? She's not a girl now. And then one day she feminine, she high femme. We done seen studs do that. She done got her hair done and her nails done, and she pumping through being filmed this day. What's the difference? In your logic, the difference is that you are valuing the cisgender. Because I'm 100% sure that you wouldn't have made that video about a stud being in a women's shelter that goes in and out of feminine and masculine clothes. I know you wouldn't have made that video about her, but because this is a non-binary person and there's tons of internalized transphobia within our community, you think it's a hot take to be against non-binary people now. And implying that they're predators. Gender variant people are not the problem. Gender binary people is the problem. Not gender binary people. Gender binary is the problem. Yes, for some people. Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of our popular trans people who play this kind of, oh, I don't know about the pronouns. Bitch, how the fuck you don't know about pronouns? You literally are saying a pronoun in that statement. I don't know about pronouns. Bitch, I is a pronoun. Pronouns are not fucking new. And bitch, you care about pronouns. If somebody was calling you a he, you would have a problem with it. So you know exactly about pronouns. You know why I call it intellectually lazy is because what is so difficult about pronouns? It's just like a name. There are titles and honorifics that people find to be respectful. And if you don't use those names, titles, and honorifics and pronouns that aligns with who they are, it's disrespectful. If I call you Miss Jones and you say it's Mrs., I'm married, because you want your marriage to be respected, that's an honorific that you want them to call you. Don't call me Miss. Call me Mrs. I am Mrs. Jones. I am a married woman. Because I got married, I earned that respect. So, and I want to be called Mrs. Jones. I'm not Miss. There are things that are respectful to people. Thumbs up if you're watching. There are things that are respectful to people. And pronouns and names are important to everybody. People, do you hear these conversations of Black women who have eccentric names and they want to, no, I want you to say my name, pronounce my name right. No, I don't want you to call me some nickname. If my name is whatever, I don't know. this negative name, this not negative name. This eccentric name that's unusual. It's my name. You can figure out what's her name. Crazy Eyes from Uzu. She was doing a talk and she was talking about her mother, who she wanted to start telling people to call her Zoe. And her mother was like, "What? That's not what I named you." And she was like, "But it's just easier for them to know. They can't pronounce because she has an African name." And she was like, "It's just easier for them to pronounce." And her mother said, if they can learn how to pronounce Michelangelo or Trzaskowski or some hard ass Italian name or Polish name or whatever, if they can learn how to say these names, they can learn how to say your name. Names are important. Pronouns are important to people. If you call a cisgender woman a he on the phone because they got a deep voice, they're gonna be like, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, call me she. Oh, this is a good point. In my experience, the type of trans folks that throw MB under the bus feel ashamed about being androgynous in the past, aka not passing, not to put words in your mouth, but that's how I'm taking it, and view it as a phase everyone should be ashamed of or grow out of. Some people don't have that same level of dysphoria that you had when you were still seeing a boy in the mirror before you got that Whoville nose. Before you went and got the FFS to chop off your brow bone and your jaw and got your nose, your black people nose made into a white people nose. Because all this shit is connected. Anti-blackness and beauty standards. And you can't fathom somebody can be comfortable in their skin. You can't fathom that the work we did in the past to make people comfortable being who they are is actually culturally healing transphobia by diminishing diminishing the importance of passing. We are allowing people to be themselves without having to go through surgery. That's the work that we have done, actually, if you clock that T. Now, I'm a binary girl. I want to pass for my safety, blah, 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 blah. But if we make a safe world for trans people, they wouldn't need to go through surgery to get, unless it's just by choice. If we made a safe world for trans people to exist and people who don't fit the binary to exist, then you don't need to go get surgery. You can just be yourself. And do things because you want to do them. And it may end up being less trans people existing. If more people were free to be whatever they want without harm, they might not even feel the need to transition because I can be whatever I want. We might create a world where people can just be. Maybe. And dinosaurs like me, who felt like I had to be this, might not need to exist. That might be the world that can be better for us all. Maybe we might be creating that world. But also gag that you are in a shelter. You are needing the assistance because you are unhoused. And you are creating a video that is advocating for this person who is unhoused just like you to not be in a all women's shelter. You want them to go to a men's shelter where they would be unsafe while you sit your hypocritical ass in an all women's shelter. Make it make sense to me. You think that person who is non-binary will be more safe in a men's shelter? That's where you want them to go? And you're trying to priority cisgender women's safety when they are more unsafe by regular cis men, cis straight men than this non-binary person, even if they are attracted to them. They are more unsafe by them. They are not unsafe with this person. We don't have non-binary people out here running rapid, raping and harming cisgender women. So this delusion about them being unsafe just because she's attracted to them is also not true. So because of this delusion, you want them kicked out of this shelter for them to be harmed in a men's shelter. Does that make sense to you? And if it does, why? You're a fucking idiot. You call it Whoville. I call it Whoville too, but I call it the Kleenex nose. Because if you look at that, you remember the Kleenex animation? They nose was like that too. If it does, fuck you. Absolutely. Because your priorities are not straight. So aligning with conservative talking points, aligning with Trump. You a whole trans woman that was given a Trump-esque, a Trumper, a MAGA talking point about a non-binary person. You think that's gonna save you? You a whole trans woman in a women's shelter. They would send both of y'all motherfuckers to the men's shelter. You doing exactly what the Latinx people do. A homeless black trans woman with conservative views is idiotic. Idiotic. You aligning with these motherfuckers and you ain't even in benefit. At least that white girl that would have been married to that white boy would have had a home. That patriarch would have had a home and being taken care of. You don't even have access to the privileges that you aligning with. That's how stupid you are. You won't, no matter how much you align, it's just like Candace Owens. No matter how much you align, you is not going to be a white woman. You still going to have them split ends. Splitting up to the shaft where you can't even get a cute little rap. Because you're too busy trying to put so much heat on it that to look like one of them white girls. You still ain't going to be that. They still talking about how ugly you are. On the right. They still talking about the width of your nose. They still talking about how you look like a man. How you trans. They still calling you trans because their ideal of beauty is not those ethnic features that you got. So anything ethnic is masculine because it's not small and dainty while the trans girls are getting these Whoville noses. It's not small and dainty. And because you're keeping it, they're calling you a man. Because you're not erasing your ethnic features. You ain't never gonna get the privileges of a white woman, babe. Tokens always get spent. I almost fell victim to these conservative brainwashing talking points, and I am thankful for my community that gets me together. Tokens always get spent. They always get spent. Absolutely. Eventually, there can be benefits with aligning, but eventually you'll get spent. So I wanted to connect those dots. That is my TED Talk tonight. I wanted to connect those dots because all of these things are connected. All of these things are connected. And we are constantly going to have to make decisions about who we align with. And we constantly have to make we got to have some critical thinking around how we are showing up for our people. how we are showing up for each other. How we are navigating our privileges. How we are talking about people who are less fortunate than us, or navigate the world in different bodies, navigate the world in different ways than we do, even if it's not how we would do it. Everybody ain't gonna be you. Everybody ain't gonna think like you do. I know I'm a binary girl. I'm gonna be that for the rest of my life, y'all. That's not gonna change. I'm gonna grow and change in other ways, but I'm gonna be a binary girl. That's the most consistent, one of the most consistent things. But I want other people to be free to move in the world however they need to feel comfortable. And so a non-binary androgynous person navigating the world, that don't take away from me. I'm still gonna have the privilege of passing. That don't take away from me. Them being androgynous, it don't take away from me. And it's not when you say shit like, oh, this is why people are confused. No, they're confused because they want to be confused. It's too much education out here. You got podcasts, you got blogs, you got shows, you got internet people. We out here teaching y'all motherfuckers. So if you want to learn some shit, you can learn. Even the pronoun shit. Oh, the pronoun stuff confuses me. You confused because you want to be motherfucking confused. Confusion is not disagreement. You just disagree. You're not confused. You're not confused. You just disagree. You don't want me to exist. You're not confused. You just don't want me to exist. You don't want the non-binary person to exist in the shelter. It's not about you being confused. You just don't want them to exist because you think that it harms whatever you trying to sell about trans people. Clock that. Clock that. Whatever your ideals about what the perfect trans person is, that's what you trying to sell. Similar to them elite kind of black people. This is the perfect kind of black, not them ghetto girls with the plastic hair, blue hair, and weaves and lashes, and the caterpillar lashes and the sexy reds. You need to be classy like Nia Long, and you need to be classy like Sanaa Lathan. You need to be classy like such and such, such and such. Them sexy red girls don't represent me. They may not be you, they may not represent you, but that doesn't mean they don't have value. There's some Banji girls that I see, I'm like, oh, these girls is Banji. But I know they black. I know they have issues and they're impacted by systems that I'm impacted by. Just because I can move through the world with a little bit more class doesn't mean that we're not impacted by those systems. Sometimes they're impacted even more. And so how can I say that I want to dismantle these systems and I'm throwing people away? You are a part of the system then. It doesn't make sense. The lack of empathy and outright disregard for me. It's crazy. But I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, y'all are going to see an uptick in people having these conservative views. They always have, but it's an uptick. But yes. All right, what do y'all want to talk about? That is my TED Talk for tonight. I wanted to make that connection of how these things are connected throughout how we are talking about these systems and the courage that it takes for us to buck up against these systems. Sometimes you're going to lose privileges. And you got to be okay with that. Sometimes you're going to have to make other decisions. Sometimes you're going to have to shut the fuck up when you don't understand things. If you got to end the video with maybe I'm wrong, maybe blah, 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 maybe it's time. Maybe you shouldn't have made this video. Sometimes you should just shut the fuck up. If you have to say, well, I don't know about all this non-binary stuff, shut the fuck up. Because there's ways for you to learn about it. You're choosing not to learn about it. Shut the fuck up. You're making a conscious decision. We've been in this conversation for too long. And when people get to talking like that, it should trigger something in you. It's similar to when a motherfucker say, well, what about black on black crime? If that doesn't trigger some responses of, fuck out of here. When we talk about white supremacy and you bring up black on black crime, fuck out of here. You are a coon. It should trigger that this motherfucker is intellectually dishonest, intellectually lazy, and just talking out their ass. All right, thumbs up if you're listening, if you're just joining us. Bumble says, sis, do you reminisce on your upbringing positively? For me, I think it is as being socialized as a boy. Or do you harbor feelings of longing, resentment, or sense of missing out of a girlhood? No. I don't harbor resentment of missing out on a girlhood. My boyhood wasn't bad. Because it wasn't a time period of and this is because of the circumstances of my life. It wasn't a time period of super brutal harm around forcing me to adhere to society rules. So let me explain. When I realized that, I align with being a girl more than I align with being a boy, and this is possible for me to do. When I realized that it was possible for me to do, all the structures around me were already collapsing that normal people might have in place to kind of force them to get back in line. My mother was, from the time I was born to 10, was a chef kiss mother. Like, in regards to building me up as a child, from 1 to 10, my mother was focused on making me feel beautiful because people didn't do that to her when she was growing up. She was focused on making me feel confident. She focused on me sharing my opinion and being empowered to share my opinion. She focused on protecting me from homophobia once she realized I might be a little She focused on keeping me safe in her home. I think we talked about that in the interview with my mom, where she was like, "Yo, I'm Jane and he Tarzan. This is his jungle. If you don't like what's going on in this jungle in her house, get out. This is this is where they live. This is their house." My mother was very adamant about that. So nobody could come in my house and be like, "Oh, you got these kids doing whatever they want to do." And da, da, da. My mama was very clear. I'm the queen of the house, but this is their house. This is not your house. If you don't like what they got going on, take your ass home. She was like that about her kids and about pets. If you don't like my pets, take your ass home where there ain't no pets. So, but at 10 years old, my mom got on drugs. And so her addiction shifted my life. Not shifted how the confidence stuff and how she talked to me in regards to that, but you know, she wasn't in my life like doing anything. She was kind of my mom. Her abuse, what her addiction did was made her neglect her children. It didn't make her abuse her children. It made her neglect her children. So our housing was unstable. Our food sources was unstable. Now, that can be a form of abuse, but there's a difference between a physical and my mother didn't cuss us out and call us and be mean to us and her addiction didn't make her it didn't show up in that way. Like she wasn't beating us and it wasn't abuse in that physical abuse. It was neglect. So imagine the timeline when I get to 10, 11, and now I'm about to get into my 12-year-old 13 bag. I'm going into a group home because of my mom's addiction. So I don't have somebody that is saying, "No, you cannot be a girl." I don't have somebody saying, "No, you cannot dress like that." I had a plan and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna be a girl and I'm gonna slowly do it. I'm gonna start getting my nails done. I'm gonna start growing my hair out." And so in junior high, I was making the decision to do that, and there was nobody to buck up against me because I was awarded a state. So so I had a good life with my mom. And then when I decide to transition, I don't have the structures normal people have to say, "No, you can't do that." Is there some structures? Yes. But as far as the home, the like in the house with your parents, I was not that. I had staff members taking care of me and they were on rotation, 8-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts. I don't give a fuck about these people and their opinion about me. So me putting on makeup and wearing wigs and wearing girl clothes, they can't kick me out because I'm awarded a state. They can't, the rule is I'm awarded a state, so you can't kick me out. And I'm not in here. I'm not in prison. Do you feel what I'm saying? Where it's I can control what you do. I'm in a group home. They were more about freedom. It was more about, you know, they might not like what you're doing, but they can't really stop you. There's no punishment. And I wasn't in there and I was a kid that wasn't in there for like behavioral issues. I was in there because my mama was a drug addict and neglectful. So the people in the house, they felt like they were saving me. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a difference. Now, if I was a criminal, like if I was a little boy who was stealing and going to juvenile, and this was incarceration, they would have been trying to punish me because you did something wrong. I was not that. I was a child who was neglected by their parents. So me coming into the system, the default is they're trying to care for me and take care of me. Did they fail sometimes? Sure. But I want you to get the mindset of how they're coming at me. They're not coming at me to punish me like I'm a criminal. So there's a certain level of freedom in that. So I didn't have a bad boyhood. I don't have a sense of some harm and trauma around people harming me about my gender identity. That came from people at school, like students and some teachers. But even that, I didn't have to constantly deal with that. I only had to deal with that at school. So there wasn't this trauma around me missing out on a girlhood because I got to do shit. I don't want to say, I'm not comparing it like it's exactly the same, but what I wanted to do in regards to girl stuff, I got to do because I had cousins. I had girl cousins and I could go over their house and do all the girl shit that I wanted. I had she wasn't my real sister, but she was my stepdad's daughter. He had an older son and a younger daughter. A son that was older than me and a daughter that was younger than me, Shantae. And they would come over to the house and we would play house and I would be the girl. We would, and because we were all kids, they didn't have a problem with it. My cousin Tanny, like I got to do all the stuff that girls do in my brain. Like when I was young, I didn't feel like I missed out on a girlhood. It didn't feel like I was missing out. It felt like I got to do it. I got to do all the stuff, play with the Barbies, play with the da-da-da-da. Not my mother didn't buy me girl shit. Do you see what I'm saying? But I could go to my cousin's house. I didn't have to sit at home. And when I was younger, I enjoyed some of the boy stuff too. I didn't enjoy sports, but I enjoyed fishing, what they consider boy stuff. I enjoyed fishing. I enjoyed video games. I'm a millennial kid. So what the boys were doing, they weren't out playing football like maybe Gen X or boomers were. Millennial kids, we were playing video games. And I loved video games. And so while I'm an older millennial, so yes, there was a time before the video games became popular that we was riding our bikes and playing in the lakes and doing all kind of stuff. Even though I love doing all of that, I wasn't missing out on stuff. There wasn't a conscious effort to say, no, you cannot do this girl stuff. I think because I was able to do that at somebody else's house, my mother wasn't in a position to say, no, this is for boys, this is for girls. I don't even think she would be that. But it wasn't necessarily that kind of stark forcing me. I was able to do what I wanted to do as a kid. And then as I became a teenager in a time when they're starting to be more strict and starting to teach you about becoming a man and becoming a da-da-da-da, the structures, that strict structure that would have been there was not there anymore. I was in a group home. So I don't have anything that I miss. What I missed, I don't know how to explain this, but what I missed was normalcy. Like because of what I was, it colored everything. It colored everything. I couldn't just be a teenager. I was the transgender. I was a trans person that was in the school. So nobody could treat me normally. I couldn't, I guess that would be the girlhood that I didn't get to experience. Just to be a regular girl in the high school. I couldn't be that. But it's impossible to be. Like, why would I be? It's kind of like being a black girl who wants to have the privileges that being a white girl gets you. Like if you're a black girl that goes to a predominantly white school, bitch, you can't be white. So why are you mourning that white girlhood? Yes, because you're young and immature, you might want to be treated, and you might want the dates, whatever comes along with your school. You might want that experience, but I'm not mourning that shit. I'm not sitting and dwelling and mourning that I didn't have a cis girlhood. That's going to bring you nothing but trauma. I'm not dwelling in that. I didn't find any purpose in dwelling. Oh my God, I didn't have a cis girlhood. I don't feel like that gets me anything. Once I decided to become who I became, that's the goal. And my goal is to accomplish whatever I have become. It didn't feel I was too busy creating my life to be mourning about what life I didn't have, if that makes sense. But I'm like that about a lot of my problems, though. About a severing when I break up. Okay, I'm gonna cry about it and I'm gonna get all the tears out. But once it's done, bitch, what you dwelling? What you still mad about it not working out for? Yes, when the severance, when you sever it at first, yes, get your crying out, get your tears out, mourn it, but you can't be stuck in that. Or stuck in what if, or stuck in how do I heal from the trauma of my mother's addiction if I'm constantly thinking about, oh, what if she didn't didn't get in drugs? What an amazing mother you would have been if you didn't get in drugs. Oh my God, what if you didn't get in your addiction? She did, though. She did. Why am I thinking about what if? She did. So how are we going to handle the reality? Yes, that needs to be fleeting. I think it's natural for me to say, what if, especially when I'm trying to hold my mother accountable for the trauma when we were trying to work through our shit. I think it's natural for me to think about what if you didn't get on drugs, but I can't stay there. I can't stay in the what ifs. And I feel like that about a bunch of shit. Ooh, what if I was born cisgendered? Okay, but you weren't. Oh, it might be different. No, it will be different. But you weren't. So why am I sitting be stuck in thinking about that? What if I wouldn't have got fired from that amazing job in my 20s? What if I wouldn't have what if I went to another school instead of Jackson State? What if but you didn't, bitch. You did this. What if I wouldn't have left Indiana and stayed in Indiana and not came to Houston? But you did. What's the point in focusing on the what if? I just don't see the point in it. But yes, you say, so you had a sense of freedom in your youth. Yeah, I wouldn't say like I was totally free, but I was free from the people who I actually cared about. I was free from their. I'm the type of person that I do not give a fuck about somebody that I don't give a fuck about. Like, I cared about my mother's opinion of me. I didn't care about people at school. I don't give a fuck about you. I care about my mom. You can think I'm all the faggots. You can think I'm all the you not a girl. You can think all I want. Whatever. You can think whatever you want. If I don't care about your damn opinion, I do not care. And that's how I was with the house staff at the group home. I don't care about these people. I don't know them. So whatever opinion they had about my transition, I don't care. And I'm not in the house with my mama, who I actually do care about. I do feel like if my mama didn't get on drugs, my transition wouldn't have happened until later because I cared about shaming my mother. Because I would not have wanted to embarrass my mother by being trans. If she stayed a good mother, the blessing of her being neglectful is it kind of set me free from the shame of trying to impress her or letting her down. Because she was a single mother who was raising me right as a boy, I would have been pressured to be like, oh, I don't want the stereotype of, oh, my mama done raised this faggot. There would have been a pressure on me to be a good little boy, a good son. But my mother getting on drugs and breaking the perfect motherhood that she was creating, she broke that when she got on drugs. It released me from the pressure of wanting to be the perfect son. Because she was no longer the perfect mother. What do you mean by materially grounded? I did let me see if I can find it. I did an article when Toni Morrison died. I'm about to put it in. You seem like you also materially grounded under my priorities was grounded. I don't know. I don't know what you mean though. I don't know how grounded my priorities would have been as a 12-year-old. I don't think I did have my priorities grounded. I don't think I did. But when you say materially, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by materially. Because I sure didn't have no materials. But in that article, I talk about how Toni Morrison's writing opened my mind up to seeing my mother more as a human. Because my mother has set it up because of how she was to me as a mother, how perfect she was in that first 10 years of life. Perfect to me. I don't know how other people saw her, but my first 10 years of life, how perfect she was. My mother was my safe place. That set her up when she did break it for me to be resentful of it. Not saying that it wasn't justified because she was neglecting me. But it showed me her humanity. And me, it didn't happen overnight, but over time, I was able to see her as a human woman, like a woman, a human, instead of seeing her as this romanticized idea of a mother, which is what she was selling. Which allowed me to also be human. And I don't have to be a perfect son. You said you were distracted by things at school, certain things at school, like the bullies and stuff. Is that what? Is that? I think that's what I was talking about. You were distracted by things at school. Yeah, it was at school that the bullies were happening and the teachers and stuff like that. Yeah, it was. I wouldn't say distracted. It just that that's where the problem was. It wasn't at home. Like it wasn't at home. With Oh, you weren't distracted by things at school. Weren't. Hmm. Yeah, I guess no. Well, yeah, but I think that was a combination of things though. I think that was a I was undiagnosed ADHD. I was dealing with the neglect. I was dealing with the shift in where I was staying. I was dealing with sexuality. It was just a lot going on. So it wasn't just there was a lot of things that were distracting me at the time in school. But I was laser focused on what my identity was going to be. But yes, what else? But yes, and also I'm busy living my girlhood now. I've been a woman for so long. I turned 44 last Friday, probably before last. That means I'm 30 years in this thing. That's like 30 years living my truth. Child, I'm not thinking about I'm not been living my truth longer than I was living as a boy. So, and I'm not trying to separate myself from transness. So my boyhood informed my womanhood. And that's okay to me. So there's no reason for me to dwell on a girlhood. My boyhood gives me sympathy for gay men. My boyhood gives me sympathy for cisgender black men. My boyhood gives me sympathy because I experienced a boyhood, and it gives me information that other women don't have because I lived it. And I value that lived experience. And I don't feel that lived experience undermines my womanhood. It enriches it. It gives it a different color. It don't make it less valuable. I don't think it's exactly the same, but I don't think it's less valuable. I think it could be a learning moment. I think it's something that I can contribute. So yeah, because I'm not separating my transness from my womanhood in that way, transness doesn't seem like a stain on my womanhood for me. My boyhood doesn't feel like a stain on my past for me. It informed it. It's just a different color. Yeah, that's how I think about it. All right. Anybody else ask some questions? Marissa says, I was stealth all through my 20s, and there's always going to be something that reminds you you're not a regular girl. And you have to get to the point to where that doesn't matter. And I think I got to that point really, really early. I think I got to the point of not trying to, I wanted to have the look, but trying to be exactly or needing to be exactly that. There's going to be a wall. There's going to be a wall. I think about now, I'm 44. Cisgender women my age are talking about perimenopause. I don't know nothing about that shit. Cisgender women my age are talking about fibroids. I don't know nothing about that shit. Don't want to know nothing about no periods. Don't want to know nothing about none of that shit. But that's a uniquely cisgender female conversation. And if I was not secure in myself, I can only imagine if I was one of them post-op girls who want to be so cisgender. I'm not trans, I'm a woman. I just fixed the birth defect. I can only imagine how the conversations that these cis women are having about menopause is triggering them. And I find joy in it, but I know it's petty, but I feel it's funny because that is an obvious moment where I know you got to be triggered, girl. These girls are out here talking about perimenopause. You're not going through that. That has to be a reminder. You want to shit on the girls who are pre-op or non-op. But these women are out here menopausing, girl. Peri and Minna. That got to be triggering. There's always something. It got to be something that's triggering you. That doesn't trigger me. It doesn't trigger me at all. I'd be like, oh, that's not my business. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things that. Also, another thing that's triggering is a lot of women our age got kids. And so, bitch, if you ain't got no kids, how you feeling? How that make you feel? Of course, there are some that don't. But it's something that can remind you that you're not cisgender. If you're trans. If we're just talking about the reminder of it, it's something that can constantly remind you. But if you're trying to assimilate to that level, that can be a harsh box to put yourself on, harsh, tight box to put yourself into and constantly trigger your dysphoria. I am not that person. I'm just not that person. A Yorkshire Terrier will do. Yeah. I'm not that person. I don't be triggered by that shit. That's why when they be, you don't have a period, you don't have babies. I'd be like, child, do you want your period? My mama used to be like, child, I can't wait. She didn't live to get to menopause or perimenopause because she died when she was young. But my mama was complaining all the time about, can't wait till this shit be gone. She's like, I can't wait till this shit be gone. She said, and I got my tubes tied. So this there ain't no point of this shit anyway. She used to always complain about that. My aunties too stay talking about how even mess it up for them. How Eve messed it up for them. Yeah, I can't do it. I ain't trying to be in. I ain't trying to be in that uncomfortable of a box. I'm okay with the binary, whatever that box look like, but it can't be too far. It can't feel like a prison. I feel free. I don't feel like I've gotten to the level. There are certain surgeries that I needed when I was younger to get me to the level where I feel comfortable. Um, but now that I've done all of that, I've been to that level probably, I want to say since I was like 24, 24, 25, like 25. Yeah, once I got my body to where I was like, ooh, my mug was already tea. Once I got my body where I needed to be, baby, I was out here in these streets living my life. I was cool. I just, yeah. Because from my teenage years, from early on, I said, this is the vision that I have for myself. And once I got there, it was straight. I was good. Mm. Well, all right, y'all. This is a good conversation. I hope that y'all were connecting the dots. Um, it is Monday, so everybody going back to work. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. Make sure you thumbs up if you are just getting in. It's gonna be up. You know I don't like them to go past 3 hours. Um, but yes, I will talk to y'all later. And thanks for the super chats.